Welcome back to the episode of Smooth Brain EDH, where we went the smoothest plays with the biggest brains. This week, our players want to throw down with some high power decks, so let's see what they brought to the table. First up is Matt on Stella Lee Wildcard. This is a deck is focused around casting multiple spells in a turn. They're using Stella Lee to copy spells with their activated ability, hoping to go infinite with cards like Cerulean Wisps to draw the whole deck. Next up is Alex on Vihaan Goldwaker. This sensational Mardu deck is all about treasures, using Vihaan to turn them into hasty, vigilant attackers to beat some sense in his opponents. Get it? Sense? Like the currency? Our third player today is Jason on Kaalia of the Vast. This is another Mardu deck, hoping to cheat multiple powerful demons, dragons, and or angels into play with Kaalia's attack trigger. Last is Chandler on Sorin of House Markov. This Orzhov deck is a new commander for Modern Horizons 3 and is focused around life gain, hoping to drain and gain throughout the entirety of the game and outlast his opponents. We're about to hop right into the game, but before that, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. We have links to our social media, public Discord server, Decklists, and our Patreon in the description. We're partnered with Dragon Shield. Check out our affiliate link in the description if you'd like to pick up any sleeves, deck boxes, or playmats. Use code SMOOTH5 at checkout for 5% off your order. We're also partnered with Inked Gaming. Our affiliate link is also in the description if you'd like to make any custom playmats. Now, on to the gameplay.
It looks like Jason wins the die roll. He'll start off with a Wooded Foothills and fetch for a Plateau. And he goes ahead and casts his Esper Sentinel and then passes to Chandler while searching. Chandler will start off with a basic Plains, and then he'll cast the coveted turn 1 Soul Ring and not pay the 1. The turn is then passed to Matt, and he'll play a Sulphur Falls and then pass to Alex, who will play a tap Blood Crypt and pass to Jason. And Jason starts off by moving to combat and hitting Chandler for 1. Then post-combat, he'll shock in a Blood Crypt and use it to cast a Sensei's Divining Top. And then he'll use his other mana to go ahead and spin the top. And after taking a peek and rearranging the top 3, he'll pass to Chandler, who starts off with an Urborg as land for turn. Then he'll tap it and his Soul Ring to cast Sorin of House Markov. He's got 1 colorless floating, so he'll use it in his planes to then cast Charismatic Conqueror. And I'm just going to let you guys know ahead of time so I don't have to announce triggers. This thing doesn't make a single 1/1. The turn is then passed to Matt, and he'll start off with a basic island and then cast Is It Signet, 1 not paid. The turn is then passed to Alex, and he'll start off with the Caves of Koilos, then cast Talisman of Conviction and not pay the 1. The turn is then passed to Jason, and he'll start off with an Elegant Parlor and surveil Necropotence to the graveyard. Then he'll cast Arachdo Signet, then move to combat and hit Matt for 1, and then he'll pass to Chandler, who starts off with a Snow Plains as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast the Gaffer, and he taps his Urborg to extort it. After this, he'll move to combat, and he swings for 2 Vigilance at Alex, and then he'll swing Sorin at Matt. Then Chandler will move to post-combat, and his commander will become Sorin, Ravenous Neonate. And Chandler will immediately downtick him to deal 4 damage to that pesky Esper Sentinel. And then the turn is passed to Matt, and Chandler draws an instep. Now Matt will start his turn off with a basic mountain. Then he'll cast his commander, Stella Lee, and pass the turn to Alex, who starts off with a basic mountain. Then he'll tap for 4 and cast a Smothering Tithe. And I'll just let you guys know now, this does not get paid for often, so I'll just let you know when it is paid for. After this, we'll move to Jason's turn, where he'll tap for 3 and cast a Fire Covenant, paying 9 life to it to kill all 3 creatures on board. Then after this, he'll tap his last land to spin the top and rearrange the top 3. Let's move to Chandler's turn now, where he'll start off in his draw step by paying for Smothering Tithe. Then he'll move to his first main, where he'll play a basic Swamp, then tap for 4 and cast another Sorin, this time the Mirthless. He'll be downticked to create a 2/3 flyer with lifelink, and then Commander Sorin will be upticked to create a food token. The turn is then passed to Matt, and he does pay for Smothering Tithe on draw step. Then he'll play another basic mountain, tap for 3, and cast Veyron, Voice of Duality. The turn is then passed to Alex, and he'll just cast Benny Brax and pass to Jason. And Jason shows the class a Dockside Extortionist. Alex will respond by cracking one of his treasures to cast Enlightened Tutor. This finds him Revel in Riches to the top of his library, then Dockside resolves, and Jason will make 6 treasure tokens. After this, he taps his last 2 lands to cast Swiftfoot Boots, and then he'll sacrifice 4 treasures to cast his commander, Kaalia of the Vast. Another treasure is sacrificed to equip her with Swiftfoot Boots, and then we'll move to combat, where Kaalia is swung at Alex. Attack trigger puts in Safara, Sky's Blade. Yeah, Alex can't really do anything about this, so he takes 2 commander and 7 regular damage. Jason's got nothing to do post-combat, so the turn is passed to Chandler. There's a few scary things on board right now, mostly an active Veyron and Kaalia. So Chandler will start off by moving to combat and hitting Jason for 2 lifelink. Then post-combat, he'll tap for 3 and cast Toxic Deluge X's 8, and he does extort it. He'll then uptick Sorin the Mirthless, revealing Phyrexian Tower, and that goes to his hand, and he plays it as land for turn. Then he'll uptick Commander Sorin to make a second food, and then the turn is passed to Matt. He'll start off by paying for Smothering Tithe, and then he'll play a basic island as land for turn, and then pass to Alex. Alex will start off by casting his commander, Vihaan. Alex will then attempt to move to combat, and Chandler suddenly realizes his walkers are in danger. So he stays in first main and tells Alex he's got instant speed removal, and if Alex promises not to kill any of his walkers this turn, Chandler won't kill Vihaan this turn. Alex adds on the condition that one of the 3/3 treasures gets to go with the Sorin with 6 loyalty, and Chandler accepts. So that's what's going to happen. Combat is moved to, the treasures are animated with Vigilance and Haste, one is swung at Commander Sorin and one at Jason, and everyone takes their damage. Post combat, Alex will sacrifice his 2 treasure creatures and tap his last land to cast Mahadi. He'll then move to his end step and make 2 more treasures, and then pass the turn to Jason, who will stop on his upkeep and pay 1 to spin Sensei's Divining Top. After rearranging the top 3, he'll move past his draw step into his first main and cast a Talisman of Hierarchy, then pass the turn to Chandler, who stops on end step to flash in Archivist of Ogma, and then he'll move to his turn. He'll pay for Smothering Tithe on his draw step, then uptick Sorin the Mirthless, revealing Marshflats, and it goes to his hand. And then said Marshflats is played as land for turn. After this, he'll cast a Felwar Stone, and he will extort it. Then he'll cast a Black Market Connections, and not extort it, and then he downticks Commander Sorin to deal 3 damage to Vihaan. The turn is then passed to Matt, but he'll stop on end step to cast Flame of Anor, choosing the mode to destroy target Swiftfoot Boots. Then we'll move to his turn, where he'll recast Stella Lee. And then to trigger her, he'll also cast a Mystical Tutor. This exiles a basic island. Then the tutor will resolve, and it finds Expressive Iteration to the top of Matt's library, and Archivist of Ogma will trigger. Jason responds to this trigger with an Orcish Bowmasters, and he'll deal 1 damage to the Archivist. Then when Chandler draws and gains, he'll deal another damage to the Archivist, killing it. Then Matt will pass the turn to Alex, who starts off by recasting Vihaan, and then he'll attempt to move to combat, but Chandler stops in first main again, and he'll fetch with his Marshflats. This will find him a scrubland, and then he'll Swords to Plowshares Vihaan. It resolves, so if Vihaan is gone, then Alex will move to combat and swing Mahadi at Sorin the Mirthless, putting him down to 1. Post-combat, Alex will cast Descent into Avernus, and then pass the turn to Jason, who will pay for Smothering Tithe on draw step. Then he'll move to combat and swing Bowmasters at Sorin with 1 loyalty and his Orc army at the one with 2, and they'll both die. Post-combat, he'll play a Raucous Theater as land for turn and surveil Sire of Insanity to the yard. Then the turn is passed to Chandler. And at the beginning of his first main phase, he'll pay 6 life to Black Market Connections to get all 3 modes. When he draws that extra card, Bowmasters will ping him for 1. Then he'll play a Field of the Dead as land for turn, and that's exactly 7 different named lands, so he gets a 2/2 zombie. Then he'll recast Sorin of House Markov, and then he'll cast a Bloodletter of Aclazotz, and he will extort it. He'll then move to his second main phase, and Sorin will transform again. And he's immediately downticked to Bolt Mahadi, and then he'll pass the turn and try to find a Shapeshifter token. Let's move to Matt's turn now, where he'll start off with Expressive Iteration. He'll look at the top 3 cards of his library, put 1 to hand, 1 to the bottom of his library, and then exile Opt. He'll then cast Brain Freeze, targeting himself. There's a Storm trigger and a Stella Lee trigger. Stella's trigger will exile Scalding Tarn, and the Storm copy will target himself as well, so he mills 6 cards. He'll then play Scalding Tarn as land for turn, then tap for double blue, delve 6, and cast Dig Through Time. He'll also hold priority and copy it with Stella Lee. So yeah, he just gets to look at the top 7 cards of his library and put 2 of them into his hand twice. He's getting some great card selection here. He'll then just pass the turn to Alex, whose Descent into Avernus will trigger on upkeep, so he gets 2 counters, then everyone takes 2 damage and creates 2 treasure tokens. Then he says, wow, this is the perfect time to drop Dockside Extortionist. So that's what he does. Jason will respond first by spinning his Sensei's Divining Top, then activate the top to swap tops. And since he did draw a card there, Smothering Tithe will still get Alex a treasure here. So anyways, priority is passed, and Chandler will sacrifice 2 treasures to sacrifice a food and gain 3 life. Then Matt will sacrifice his Scalding Tarn for a Thundering Falls. Then Matt will also sacrifice his 2 treasure tokens. Then the Dockside resolves. When the ETB trigger goes on the stack, Jason does decide to sacrifice 1 treasure. And then Alex will create 9 total treasure tokens. He's got 16 now, so he'll tap his last 2 lands and then sacrifice 5 to recast Vihaan. Now he'll attempt to move to combat, but once again, someone stays in main phase 1. This time it's Jason. He had 1 mana floating from his treasure, so he'll tap his last land and sacrifice an additional treasure to cast Anguished Unmaking on Vihaan. So Vihaan is exiled, and now that they're still in first main, Alex decides to just go ahead and cast his Revel in Riches, going down to 6 treasures, and then he'll just pass the turn to Jason, who will stay on end step to cast a Vampiric Tutor. Jason then speaks with Chandler real quick and says, hey, Alex now has Revel in Riches out. That is threatening to win him the game here in the next turn or 2, and I can put you in a position to kill Alex on your turn, but I want you to not mess with my board on your next turn. And Chandler agrees to these terms. This influences what card Jason tutors for, and he'll draw it on his draw step. Then on his main phase, he'll cast Dragon Tempest, which is what I assume he tutored for. That, or this Ancient Tomb that he plays as land for turn. Either way, it all adds up to a Kaalia with haste. And she is swung at Alex, and Bowman and the Orc Army are swung at Matt. Attack trigger will put in Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, which means total damage going at Matt is 8 and total damage going at Alex is 14, and neither of them can stop it. The turn is then passed to Chandler, and on his pre-combat main phase, he'll pay 5 life to BMC to get an extra card and another creature. When he draws that extra card, Bowman will trigger and deal 2 damage now to Dockside Extortionist and kill it. Alex is pretty sure he's going to die this turn anyway, so he'll respond to the damage with a Dictate of Erebos. This will end up making Matt sacrifice Stella Lee, so he decides to Fierce Guardianship it. So now that Dockside is dead, Chandler's still in first main, so he'll tap for 6 and cast Bolus's Citadel. Apparently, he just top decked that and has been holding on to this Aetherflux Reservoir he'll also cast for a very long time. So yeah, if he's able to find a Sensei's Divining Top or just straight up cast enough spells off the top, he could probably win here. Well, it turns out the top card of his library is a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which he'll cast for 5 life, and Aetherflux will gain him back 3. The Grey Merchant will resolve, and Devotion is 9, and with Bloodletter of Aclazot's out, each opponent loses 18 life, and Chandler will gain 54. This kills both Alex and Jason and leaves Matt at 5. Now all Chandler has to do is either downtick Sorin, activate Aetherflux Reservoir, or just move to combat and swing, and that'll kill Matt. So Matt decides, I'm gonna pack it up, you win, making Chandler and Sorin of House Markov the winners. Congratulations. Well everyone, there you have it. What'd you all think? While the ending was a little out of nowhere and unexpected if you ask me, I felt like anybody could have taken it there at the end. Stella Lee was probably going to try to go off on their next turn, Vihaan had that Revel in Riches out and kept pumping out treasures, and Kaalia was backed up by Gisela, which is absolutely terrifying. Anyways, yeah, let us know what you guys thought down in the comments below, and while you're down there, don't forget to check out all of our links in the description. Please subscribe if you haven't already, but that's enough talk out of me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a smooth day.